Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report. Welcome to the program. This is episode 27. Just remember, while you're watching this, if you're whichever platform you're watching, whether it be Rumble or YouTube or Podbean or the other affiliates we have that are with them and stuff, don't forget to subscribe to the platform you're watching on. It's free, and if you can subscribe and get notifications, like on YouTube, you hit the little bell. You'll get advanced notification whenever an episode is published. The day's message is episode 27. I just titled it, "This is what I think." Okay. Over the last couple of days, I try to do these every 2 or 3 days. Over like a couple of days ago, former Senator John Kerry made the news again. This is what I think about him. Okay. I'm a combat veteran. He is a Naval Reserve combat veteran. He served in Vietnam. I have to give that to him. And when he was there, I believe it was 1967, he was on what they call a swift boat. Those are patrol boats that go up and down rivers. Now, there's a bunch of controversy about what he got and why he got it. And when I did my research on him, and this is what I've known, he's got a Silver Star, and he got a Bronze Star, and he got 3 Purple Hearts. From some of the people that served with him on the swift boats, he wasn't all what he was cracked up to believe. Even when he got back from Vietnam, I believe he threw his medals over the fence of the White House. I don't understand people like that, but you have the right to do it if you want. He came from a military family, and his dad was in foreign service after he got out of the Army. He's been a politician almost all of his life. He went to Yale Law School. He's a staunch environmentalist. He's been involved in politics since 1972, which I believe may be a little bit longer than Joe Biden. Go figure that one out, right? But he's very aristocratic. He's always been rich. He's been in money for a long time. He married the widow of John Hines. Yeah, her name is Teresa Hines. If you recognize the name Hines, it's ketchup. Okay, and Senator John Hines died in a helicopter accident in the early 80s, and then they met several years later. Matter of fact, Teresa Hines and John Hines met on Earth Day, of all days. But they're like-minded, which is good. Me and my wife see a lot of things together, and so do they. Okay, and she's rich. But he's been a politician almost his entire life. He's very liberal. He's been liberal, and if he was still in the United States Senate, which he hasn't been in several years, but he'd be considered probably the most staunch liberals in the United States. He's from Massachusetts. You look at what's wrong with our country, and most of the politics come from the Northeast. That's the way they are, and reality sets in from the Midwest. The reason why we're talking today is what happened a couple of days ago. Okay. Well, before we get into that, I don't understand his disdain for the U.S. military and the United States. It's like he's always trying to apologize for what we've done in our past. People are like that sometimes. Even though he's a combat veteran, I don't understand. During the middle of the Iraq War, when he was running for president himself in 2004, he he made a statement about military people in general, about how he assumed that we're all stupid and unintelligent, and the statement was, "You get stuck in Iraq." He said maybe you get stuck in Iraq. Um, but he sometimes comes across as brash and I've made my way and I don't care about y'all anymore. But that's the way it is. When when he ended up becoming the Barack Obama Secretary of State after Hillary Clinton resigned as Secretary of State. But in that meantime, he was how do you say it? He was very friendly to Iran. He was in search of the big decision of the United States and other powers having treaties and stuff. They came up with this nuclear treaty with Iran, and gave up it was close to $500 million of cash. What do you think Iran was going to do with all that extra money laying around? It probably went all to the Quds Force, and it funded their terroristic activities. But the what concerns me is after 2016 or January 2017, he left the public service because President Trump was in office. So the problem with that is he just could not give up being Secretary of State. He was running shadow diplomacy. There was rumors going around that he was actually talking to foreign leaders about not listening to President Trump. I don't know if that's true or not. It seems like it would be. And then, and I heard someone on the news the other day comparing, she tried to justify, and she's a Democratic person. Matter of fact, she used to work for John Kerry. She tried to justify Michael Flynn talking to the Russians when he was a designated national security advisor to John Kerry not being in any political office, not even being designated or nominated, and conducting foreign policy, which is against the Logan's Act. So, how did he not get prosecuted for that? I don't know. But what came out a couple of days ago was the fact that John Kerry disclosed to the Iranian foreign ministry that Israel was responsible for 200 covert acts against Iranian targets inside of Syria. I don't know if that's true. I really don't know if it's true. I support it. After what I went through when I was in Iraq, I don't feel sorry for him. But the fact is, you don't disclose military operations to the enemy. Ever. Because there's an old adage, loose lips sink ships. Okay? So, he went and disclosed, and the Israeli government never acknowledges stuff like that because that's super covert. That'll spark a war in a heartbeat. Well, why is he going around when not in office, or this might, it doesn't matter. Look, John Kerry can't be trusted. He'll sell out the United States in the first instance he can. So the best thing he can do for our country is to resign and participate in more of his Earth Day activities like he likes, and stop jet setting around the country and polluting it, and then telling us that we can't drive our cars when he's flying around in private jets. or what sets me off about him and people like him, because one of his really good friends is Richard Blumenthal, a senator from Connecticut. This guy thought he claimed for years that he was a Vietnam veteran. When it came out, he was just in the Army during Vietnam. He never deployed. Stolen valor is a serious situation with me, because people tell their inflated war stories sometimes, but then there are people that actually lie about it, and that's what really gets on a lot of veterans' nerves. I had a friend one time. We were having a discussion, and he's like, "There's no difference between a combat veteran and a veteran. We're all the same." And another friend of mine stood up and said, "You're wrong, because a combat veteran is different than a veteran." And and he was a Vietnam vet too, saying this. And this other guy had never been deployed a day in his life. But the fact is, can we trust him? Can we trust him to keep from flapping his lips? I was in the Army for 25 years, and I've held jobs I can't talk about, especially on air. You never know who's recording you, and that could have been a blackmail for a situation for him. It probably was. But, the fact is, he allegedly told the Iranians about combat operations. How many combat operations did he tell about Americans involved against strikes against Iranians? If he's so easily told people about Israeli actions, what about American actions? What about British actions? What about French and German and Jordanian and Saudi? How many of those did he disclose? So, you can be one of those that give him his chance to excel and represent the United States, but he may be all good and knowledgeable about the area where he's in, but he has a past, and his past has probably endangered many other different Americans and nationalities around the United States, around the world. I'm sorry. I just wanted to say that for the day. Not a very long podcast, but I really think he should just resign and call it a day and just fade on out and find a fishing boat and go fishing. Might be good for him, since he's from Massachusetts anyway. But thank y'all for watching the JP8 report. And if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section, and I'll read them, or email me at jp8report@gmail.com. I'm out.